You wake up tomorrow with Jeff Bezos' current net worth, $209 billion USD. What do you do? Massaturk said. Add guacamole to my Chipotle order. Beastly173 said. Some of them? Hilariously, pitifully cheap to vote your way. Like. The single digits of thousand cheap. Given, still something mostly aligned with their goals and political positions already, but still. Unleaded said. I-95 from Richmond down to Miami is in my opinion actually not that bad. Everything north of Richmond sucks though. Getting from Richmond past Fredericksburg is literally the worst stretch of highway I have experienced in the US. Bert Boxer said. Used to live right behind Central Park in Fredericksburg. The reason is because there are only two ways across the Rappahannock, 95 and Route 1's Falmouth Light. Both methods get crazy bogged down because everyone, both local and long distance, has to use one of those two roads. Even people just going from Stafford to Fredericksburg can't really use back roads unless they go way out of their way. PN2 said. That's my life right now. State Route has been having like a 6-mile stretch of road being worked on every day for literally 2 years. It's on my daily commute. It's unavoidable for me and adds usually 20 minutes to my drive time each way. The worst was once we were stopped for literally 50 minutes staring at that hard-headed motherfucker with his stop sign while they moved their excavators and dump trucks across the road to wrap up for the day. I couldn't even tell what they were doing at first, adding more lanes or building a new road? Finally, after a year and a half, one of the new roads was opened up and it's literally worse and more uneven than the old road. I have no idea how they can be so inefficient working for over 2 years on 6 miles of road. It boggles my mind how a nationwide highway ever got built in the first place. Deleted, said. They repaved a large section of the main route to the nearby city. It's mostly a 2-lane highway in both directions, but with strip malls scattered in. It was rough in certain spots. The road got repaved and we endured the construction for the better part of a year. Afterwards, the road was so uneven that it will make you want to puke. My wife has a full-size truck with an off-road suspension package and it still rattles you around to a point of nausea. You can see the uneven nature of it just driving along, and people's suspensions visibly bottom out. Is there no accountability for that? Some sludge monkey just gets the winning bid, does a half-assed job, throws some money back to whoever coerced they're being awarded the work, and nobody cares about the crap job. There a Lityoff thing said. Guy wins the lottery, alright? Guy rushes home, busts in the door and yells. Honey, pack your bags, I won the lottery. The lottery, she says, oh my. Where are we going to go? Italy? Jamaica? Paris? Husband exclaims. What? I don't give a damn where you pack for, just get out of my house. I hold all in contempt said. Right. I'd start looking at the city's vacant building list. Category 3 is basically tear it down. Category 2 is you have to prove you have the resources to fix this 4-page list before it's inspected to be declared habitable. So, start with 100 houses at auction. Deed the land to a non-profit housing entity. G'd be starting a land trust, basically. Fix up houses, you'll have the work to afford to start a few companies. Hire some grads, hire some of the best, and pay 25% more than anyone else in the market. Do damn good work. Rent the houses out to people that can provide proof of financial need. Rent equals property tax plus utilities kind of thing. Sell them to renters who have been there over a year if they want to buy. https://community-wealth.org/sites/clone.community-wealth.org/files/downloads/paper-community.pdf. Just an example, but land trusts would help those 100 homes remain affordable housing, yet allow people that bought them to accrue equity, profit when selling, or inherit wealth when they otherwise may never have qualified for financing. Zuliman said. Oh man, this has been a running joke with my buds that one day I'll order one. We have a tradition where the 3 of us meet for birthday dinners, always a steakhouse. The birthday bud is treated dinner and drinks. We always just order the 8-ounce Pullman steaks. Many years back we happened to be at Nick and Sam's in Dallas, TX, when unknown to us was a large group of Dallas Mavericks players were also having dinner. They all ordered the giant tomahawk steak, so we were there to witness the waitresses walking by as if they were in the Flintstone cartoon intro with these huge platters with maybe 8 of those steaks each being paraded past us to the private dining room. It was absolutely amazing to see, and I now forever call those Brontosaurus steaks. My birthday dinner is coming up, so my yearly joke of a Brontosaurus steak is right around the corner. Someday I'll order one. Emma Hundy said, "Bro, save up. Skip a birthday for all 3 of you so you each have 2x money for the next one. If you love steak, a good cut of steak is something you need to absolutely try at some point. Or don't, because after you have a good steak, a bad one will never satisfy you again and you'll go deep into debt buying steaks you can't afford. Next you'll be lusting after 60-day dry-aged steaks. Then genuine A5 Wagyu, then aged Wagyu. It'll never stop. You'll keep topping the last steak and they're always so fucking good. Real advice, if you're not after the restaurant experience, go to Costco. They sell 3-4 packs of the ribeye cuts for about $10-11 a pound where I am. They're about $60 total for the pack. There's no way you guys don't have $60, no tip no tax, between the 3 of you. You're not the gang from It's Always Sunny. They're enormous, but that's the best part of a tomahawk, and you sound like you're after a huge cut anyway. Look up how to reverse sear it and do that. It's basically foolproof. You get it up to temp in the oven, low and slow. It's juicy as fuck. You get a few cast irons ripping hot on the stove and then quickly sear them. A good sear and a good crust is as important as getting the inside done just right. You basically can't overcook it this way, and you don't really need any special cooking shit. I promise you will love it and you'll never settle for bad steaks again. Please, 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 I'm begging you. Muxman68 said, I call IKEA and let them know I'll be purchasing their entire showroom and renting out the facility for a couple days. I then have a giant paintball match in IKEA. Then I call a financial advisor. Rad98 said, you can buy land in the Amazon. That's not hard. The hard part is protecting it. The logging companies don't give a shit about whose land it is. So you'll have to use some of that money for an armed force to protect the land. Or maybe pay the loggers 3x their logging salary to not work. Bathroom Break said, seriously, with that kind of money I'd employ a whole army of environmentalist-friendly hired guns who would gladly shoot on sight any trespassing loggers. While we're at it, I'd deploy some to Africa to help authorities there protect endangered animals from poaching. The TVDB said, that's great until they realize they can replant the cut portions while continuing to cut the rest, more than doubling their income. Even worse, this is a perverse incentive since they guarantee their long-term income from you by increasing the amount of trees they cut elsewhere. You're better off just going with an armed force and then trying to help create non-forestry jobs in the area. McBurger said, being most realistic, I've probably experienced 30 seconds of total joy and excitement, followed by a crippling several hours of anxiety panic attack as the realization sets in that nearly every human alive would be willing to kill me for a fraction of that money, that the rest of my life will be spent in the national spotlight, that this will ultimately destroy every relationship I've ever built. Don't get me wrong, I'm still taking the money, I'm not trying to push some money can't buy happiness bullshit. But I think I'd need to keep this an absolute secret from everyone until I get a rock-solid battle plan of affairs in order. Once the media finds out, you'd better not be anywhere that a horde of desperate lunatics can find you. Or your family loved ones, they're great for ransom. Snooji said, pay off all my debt. Pay off the debt of all my family and closest friends. Buy land in the mountains on a lake and build a dream house along all the toys for lake life and a big guest house. Buy our dream cars. Travel the world. Build and fund homeless shelters that will provide people with a private room with their own kitchenette and bathroom, 3 nutritious meals a day, medical care, access to mental health professionals, access to job training and career coaching, transportation to work and interviews, and assistance to help them transition out of the shelter once they are back on their feet. Build and fund animal shelters that will provide animals with veterinary care, daily exercise, play, and their own comfortable rooms. The goal would be to make the animals feel like they're already in a home and not a cold, concrete kennel. Snooji said, build and fund high-quality senior citizen living facilities that include security measures to prevent and monitor for abuse. Also provide an appropriate salary for staff. Make donations toward converting to clean energy sources and other things to help combat climate change, like helping farmers make food production more sustainable. Fund free school breakfast and lunch for all children. Ada, wow. Thanks for the awards everyone. Didn't expect it lol. Mel Gibson Enjoyer said. Buyin' Mac Island in the Bering Sea, 200,000 acres including a volcano for a measly $16.5 million, and as it's only accessible via air and boat at certain times of the year gives me some nice privacy. Construct a castle on the property in Gothic Revival style of architecture, include modern features like electricity and heating but still try to keep it like a real Gothic castle with similar materials as used throughout history. Must be at least 100,000 square feet as I like room to put my feet up. Bring polar bears to the island, hopefully summer there already, giving them proper food sources so their population can thrive. I want the island to be basically infested with polar bears, like have a higher density than anywhere else on the world, and breed them for aggression. Transportation around the island would need to be done in caged vehicles outfitted with 50 caliber rifles to defend against the rampaging threat of hyper-violent polar bears. Hire staff of 100 military contractors to protect the island from another staff of 100 military contractors I have pitted against each other. Hire a harem of beautiful women who constantly seek my attention, continually deny their advancements because I'm not into women. Spend most of the day shit posting on Reddit and trying to live modestly. Mr. Urgent 3 said. After doing all the responsible things like talking with lawyers, accountants, and brokers, I will first do something for myself, buy a pinball machine. I've always wanted one and that's my extravagant gift that I would buy for myself if I ever had the money to burn. My second thing is to quit my job, after they find a replacement for me, and go to work on charities. I first want to work on a way to renovate old buildings and turn them into housing for the homeless. These will be nice living spaces for people in need. But it won't just be living spaces either. There will be a rec room gym, a cafeteria, a daycare, therapy offices, an office to help people find jobs, and even a methadone clinic. I want to help people get back on their feet. When I see people down on their luck, I don't like myself because all I want to do is help but I don't have the finances to do so. If I woke up to find myself the richest person in the world, how could I not want to help everyone? I guess it's been a dream of mine to help people in this way. I want to make an impact in the world for the better. Edit. Thank you for the awards also grammar. Fry's 100th Cube Off Coffee said. Bezos, now it comes to it, I don't feel like parting with it, it's mine, I found it, it came to me. Gandalf, there's no need to get angry. Bezos, well, if I'm angry, it's your fault. Caresses the money, it's mine. My own, my precious. Gandalf, precious? It's been called that before, but not by you. Bezos, arg. What business is it of yours what I do with my own things? Gandalf, I think you've had that money quite long enough. Bezos, puts up his fists, you, want it for yourself. Gandalf, Jeffrey Bezos. The very air seems to shake as Gandalf draws himself up to full height. His voice thunders throughout the grotesquely opulent mansion. Gandalf, do not take me for some conjurer of cheap tricks. I am not trying to rob you. I'm trying to help you. Bezos starts sweeping. He stumbles towards Gandalf, then yells psych, and, dodging his way around Gandalf and out the door, runs laughing maniacally into the night. Moose Mumsy said. I would be building all kinds of affordable housing for starters. Also I would be funding a myriad of initiatives including setting up spay neuter clinics in places like India, northern Canada, etc. where the street dogs suffer immensely. Fully funding anti-poaching units like the Black Mambas and the Akashinga. Large endowments to groups like the David Sheldrick Wildlife Trust and Wildlife Sauce. I'd love to get involved in providing funding for women families in poor countries to have clean, safe housing, access to birth control and healthcare along with training for them to have small businesses or run small farms to grow and sell food. Etc., etc., etc. There's just so much good a person can do with that kind of money. The possibilities are endless. Thebiggs42 said. First, I don't tell anyone jack shit. Except my wife. Second, I call a lawyer. Third, I set up anonymous trusts for all my family members and close friends so they get a monthly check for the rest of their lives. I also set up yearly gifts to my favorite charities. Fourth, I buy a lot of land in the mountains and build a home in the middle, with guest houses for friends and family. 5th, I built the most awesome home computers, network, and storage. 6th, I buy a great sports car, truck, and sedan. I also find a 1959 Cadillac and have it restored with modern engine, transmission, brakes, and suspension. 7th, travel the world and enjoy life. This is also my plan if I ever win the lottery. Edit, spelling LOL. Edit, to all the people saying what am I going to do with the rest and I'm being selfish. In step 3 I will give away $208 billion to family, friends, general people I know and a multitude of charities. Jim 105 said. Depends if people know that I have that much money, if it's legally mine, and how I have that money. If I woke up with my house full of cash, then I would have the hardest time spending huge quantities of cash without being suspicious to the IRS or whatever federal agency. I would lower my usual spending of my credit card, but not immediately. Also probably gift some to family and friends. Go to bars or restaurant, pay cash, and tip generously. Avoid buying anything too flashy, new car, new house, etc., while keep working at my job. If the money was legally mine, then I would reinvest in myself first, work on health, pay off house, and set aside money for wife and kids and mutual funds as inheritance, then educate myself in medicine. I would really like to cure a disease. Not just a temporary vaccine or new pill, but a real cure, something I haven't heard of since the polio vaccine. Jade Spade 23 said. In addition to a million other awesome things, I would set up a whole bunch of labs all over the country to take care of all the backlogged rape kits that are just sitting there, helping no one. There are a lot of logistics that I obviously don't know the ins and outs of, but I could easily hire people to advise me. Like, we would need a shitload more lab techs, etc., so gotta find a way to ensure there are enough. I'd be paying well enough, with benefits, so people would definitely like working there. We'd love to set up actual SVUs in at least all major cities. This would all start in America, but hopefully can expand to other countries. Think there needs to be an international database of DNA if there isn't one already. Inner Nothing 7779 said. Buy a really big boat with a helicopter pad, a helicopter, a smaller boat or two, live on it and sail the world. Also, give random people random things. Over here dude at a bar saying he's never seen MT. Rushmore? Let's go bro, we leave in 10. Little kid wants a Ferrari? Here's the keys kid. A lady saying she wishes she had a lifetime supply of vibrators? Here you go lady, trust fund of $1 million for use in purchasing sex toys. Send me some pics now and then. Old lady wants to feel young again and spend a year doing extreme sports until she dies? Let's go Edith, time to let your hair out. Clemene said. Pay off people's medical bills and student loans, anonymously invest in my friend's startup, pay off some mortgages, buy myself a house or two, do drugs and party, buy land around Native American reservations and give it back to the tribes, build hospitals around the world, do a Scotch Tots thing for a school but actually do it, get my friend's book published, fund research for medicine and climate change, create sustainable food and water resources in communities that need it, hire people to do a lot of this stuff for me, buy a boat or something with what's left. Rancid Fist said. Flood hospitals and education systems with needed currency to help stimulate their effectiveness. Dump money into researching genetic disorders, mental illness, and augmentations to replace damaged limbs organs. Fund huge agriculture developments teaching children and adults to live off the land and grow their own food. Launch massive propaganda campaigns to eradicate everyone that is left-handed. Buy enough marijuana and alcohol to never have to leave the house again. Simple Seagull said. Right, so this is a lot of money. And I'm going to give it nearly all away. First things first, I'm going to get my wisest and most trusted friends and hire them to work with me. I'm going to need them, as I'm going to have a lot of people circling round me soon. Assuming I have Bezo's Amazon shares, I'd implement a profit share with Amazon employees right away. They are making me rich and they deserve it. Next, I'm going to build a sweet cabin complex of awesome cabins, where I will host the best minds, weighing up their opinions on how to use the money to make the biggest impact. The people I like most will join the crew of people whose task will be to make the world better. Obviously we'll also need a large team of doer staff to implement the things we're working towards. After deciding on a handful of things we think the money can really help with, we get to work. I'm thinking some charitable things like environmental projects and creating better outcomes for children across the world, especially the poorest. Alongside this, I reckon we might invest in some businesses that massively accelerate sustainable change in our fossil fuel use. But hey, I want to listen to the experts, and who knows what they come up with, so I'm open-minded around other things, but it's definitely going to include the above, at least. Simple Seagull said. Finally, I'm going to get into political lobbying, hard. All over the world. This might be controversial, but if I'm going to be giving away $208 billion plus, I need to know that governments are working with me. Fairer tax laws, investment in kids and young people's schools, seriously rehabilitating drug addicts and criminals, positive legislation around climate change would be top of the agenda here. I have money and influence now, and I'm absolutely going to use it for systemic change. And alongside the lobbying, I'm going to leverage my $$ to get the policies that work to my aims. Do good stuff with taxpayer money and we'll be there to massively help out. If not, we won't. On a selfish level, and this is small fry in the context of billions, maybe $100 million for this, which is a ridiculously huge amount of money to enjoy and live off. I love where I live, so I wouldn't move, but I'd buy up as many houses in my area as possible and get friends to move in. Buy a football, soccer, club, which I could help sustainably build and grow for fun. Build an amazing cabin in the woods and or by the sea, as mentioned above. Go on sweet holidays. Put aside £500 for each of my kids, nieces and nephews for them to access when they're older, plus buy one of the houses mentioned above in their name, each. The rest of the money goes to above causes when I die. That'll do it. I am Detorg said. Inflation will create trillionaires pretty quickly, in USD, of course, in other currencies, there have been plenty of them. Mining an asteroid wouldn't be as lucrative on Earth as you might think. The common elements metals are only valuable in very large quantities, and those large quantities are on the wrong side of a fairly deep gravity well. And the valuable metal elements are only valuable because they're in short supply. You can't bring 100 tons of gold back from orbit, imagining some magical way to do that, and have the price not collapse. The major value is on orbit resources in some future economy where they're useful, but we're decades, if not centuries, away from having demand high enough in space to create real value. Automated fabrication from raw resources would create demand, but it would also enable huge reductions in costs of accessing future resources in space, which would put a substantial limit on values.